It was obvious that someone was trying to frame Dustin for James' death, but who? Was it the Doyle family or the Grant family? Or perhaps someone he had never met before? And why would they do this? Were they trying to turn Dahlia against him? Dustin stared at the black needle he was holding. He wanted to explain everything to Dahlia but stopped himself. He knew that in her current state, she would never believe him. Besides, all he had was the needle, which wasn't enough to prove anything. He would only be able to prove his innocence when he found the real killer. Just then, the sound of the phone ringing tore through the air. Dustin fished out his phone and saw that it was Nelson. "Hello. Great timing, Nelson. There's something I need you to dash." Before Dustin could finish what he wanted to say, a panicked voice rang out. "We're in trouble, sir. What's happening?" Dustin frowned. "A bunch of martial artists just randomly barged into our dojo and began beating our men up. They are ruthless. Our men have no chance of stopping these people, so please save us." Nelson pleaded desperately. "Hang on. I'm on my way." Dustin hung up and immediately made his way to the Flame Dragon dojo. As the gang's leader, there was no way he could just ignore this. After half an hour, Dustin finally arrived at the Flame Dragon dojo, where a bunch of his disciples were sprawled out on the floor. Foreign martial artists clad in dark clothes had completely taken over the place. Even the 4 guardians, who were fairly strong, were pinned under their feet, unable to move at all, while Nelson was shaking where he knelt on the ground. "Sir." Nelson was overjoyed when he saw Dustin and struggled to stand up. However, he was kicked in the back by a bearded man and fell back onto the ground. "Are you the leader of the Flame Dragon gang?" The bearded man rose to his feet slowly, his expression arrogant. "I am." "And who are you?" Dustin asked. "The name's Malcolm. Bennett Malcolm. I'm the Doyle family's envoy, and I was ordered to capture you." Bennett answered calmly. "Bennett Malcolm?" The Flame Dragon gang immediately paled when they heard this. Bennett Malcolm, otherwise known as Maniac, was a divine-level martial artist who also happened to be Terry Doyle's right-hand man. He was notorious for winning all duels people challenged him with, regardless of his opponent's level. His methods were also brutal to the point that his opponents either ended up dead or critically injured, which was why the mere mention of his name was enough to throw Nelson and the others into a state of frenzy. Besides being insanely powerful, Bennett also had the support of the Doyle family, making him untouchable. "The Doyle family again?" Dustin raised an eyebrow. "You guys really don't know when to give up, do you?" First, it had been Duncan, now, it was their family envoy. They seemed to really have their eyes set on Dustin. "The Flame Dragon gang belongs to Mr. Doyle in the first place, yet you killed Harry Hall and took over the gang without permission. Your actions have made Mr. Doyle very angry. He has ordered me to take you in for questioning. You better behave to save yourself from the pain." Bennett threatened coolly. "Enough with the chit-chat, Bennett. Arrest that fucker. I want my revenge." Right then, a young woman with a clenched jaw limped her way out of the crowd. "It's you." Dustin narrowed his eyes as he immediately recognized the woman, who was none other than Maggie Doyle, whom he had met during yesterday's car accident. "Hey, motherfucker. I bet you didn't expect me to come for you so soon." Maggie sneered. "I've warned you not to cross me, or you'd be dead meat. I bet you're shaking in fear now, aren't you?" As soon as she went home, she ordered her men to look into Dustin and discovered that he was the leader of the Flame Dragon gang. Her cousin Terry had been the one who was controlling that gang, so how dare Dustin touch that gang? She immediately went to report her findings to Terry, secretly exaggerating the story, which led to the current situation. Wasn't yesterday's lesson memorable enough? Why would you ask for another beating? Dustin asked nonchalantly. A beating? Haha. Look around you. You're surrounded by martial artists who work under my family. Maggie yelled. As the only martial arts family among the Fabulous Five, the Doyle family focused more on security and provided martial arts assistance, which was why despite being the weakest of the 5 families in terms of wealth, their physical strength was second to none. Just because you have numbers on your side doesn't mean you'll win. Dustin shook his head. I'm not in the mood for bloodshed today, so as long as you apologize, compensate all the damages, and promise not to do this again, I might let this matter slide. Let this matter slide. Fut. Maggie burst out laughing. Bitch, what gives you the right to say that? Your life is in my hands now. You'd be dead if I ordered my men to tear you to shred. Really? Try it. Then Dustin spread out his hands, his expression remaining unchanged. I guess you're going to be stubborn till the end. Bennett, destroy him. Maggie gestured to Bennett and took a seat at the side to enjoy the show. Kid, you shouldn't have offended Ms. Maggie. I was planning to capture you peacefully, but now, I'll have no choice but to break your limbs to placate her, Bennett said frigidly as he trudged forward, his large, imposing frame putting immense pressure on others. Sir, Bennett Malcolm is a powerful divine-level martial artist. You're no match for him, so run. Nelson, who was tied up, cried. What will you guys do if I run now? Dustin was surprised by Nelson's loyalty. Our lives are nothing compared to yours. Let them do whatever they want, Nelson answered firmly. From the moment he heard Bennett's name, he knew that he was doomed. As your leader, there's no way I'd abandon all of you, Dustin responded calmly. Sir, as long as you're alive, there will always be hope. You're extremely talented, you'll reach the top in no time. There's no need for you to risk your life here. Nelson shouted. Although Dustin was also a divine-level martial artist, he was still no match for a seasoned fighter like Bennett. Not to mention, Bennett also had the Doyle family backing him up. I don't deserve to be your leader if I run away in times of trouble. Dustin was unfazed. Sir, now is not the time to be stubborn. Bennett is far too strong for you to handle. Saving your own life is far more important. Hurry, run. Nelson panicked. Run, sir. Forget about us. As long as you're safe, the Flame Dragon Gang can rise again. Our deaths won't be in vain. Influenced by Nelson, the rest of the gang's disciples began crying out in righteousness. In the martial world, nothing was more important than loyalty and righteousness. The fact that Dustin was willing to stand up against the Doyle family for them was enough to prove that they had chosen the right person to follow. Don't worry. This big guy can't do anything to me. Dustin smiled softly. Stubborn to the end, I see. Let's see how long you'll last. Maggie sniggered.